Well, hello. In this video, I'm going to explain how to add some buttons and receive information in our web application. After we have created our view project, as we have seen in the first video, you will see that you will have here some initial components and some pre-made pages. I recommend you to delete all of them and start from scratch. So for this example, I'm going to work here with my web application, and we are going to see how, for example, how we can add this component here that when we click on this button after we have connected the platform, so we can receive information about the ground speed, the altitude, the heading, and the position of the drone. First of all, this is the general view, the page, and I have here the different components. I'm using here grid system of Bootstrap. So before that, I recommend you to go to the HTML and add the style sheets of Bootstrap, which is a very popular framework to build a responsive application. You have here in this page get Bootstrap, and you copy this link and you paste it in the HTML file, so you will be able to use it. I'm also using the leaflet style sheet, and also for the icons you will find also a Bootstrap icons style sheet, and I will talk on a different video about leaflet. So first of all, we have to configure the router here, so we can add a new page with a path of localhost/control, and we have our what I've called the control view. So we have to import it, and then we write it like that: the path, the component I'm using, and the children if needed. Okay, and here in view we can add the components like that. So in my view here I have the navigation and menu. This is like the bar and that you see here, and I have it for also for this page and all of them. And then I also have with a component for the camera, the LEDs, and from the map. And as I have said, in this video we will talk about the get info component. So I'm using here the grid system that you can find in the Bootstrap page. You have here a lot of information in Get Bootstrap, how to configure that grid. And you see here that I have so the grid, and I have this component for the controls, and here I have the get info. It's very important that we import the component, and then we write it here like that. I remember in my case I'm using directly JavaScript, but we have configured it to be able to use TypeScript. So you just have to write the script language TypeScript, and you can develop it in with TypeScript. What else? We also need this library, the socket.io. So you will have to install it with the npm package manager. With this command here, because my dashboard is using this architecture. The dashboard is talking with a data service, which is a WebSocket service using Flask and Flask Socket IO library. Okay, now let's see the component. Well, in the template in HTML, we have those icons, and next to it the value of the ground speed, the altitude, heading, or position. Let me show you again this. Okay, the icon and the value, and just at the bottom the button of get telemetry, that when is clicked it calls a function called get telemetry. So in the script, again, as I have said, I'm using JavaScript. I'm also using those libraries, and to develop the script I'm using the composition, which is called in Vue the composition API, which is basically based on this setup and lifecycle hooks, on mounted, and some others. You have all the information in the Vue web page. Of course, you can also do it with the options API, which is the typical one, but this one works better. You have in the web page here all the information, so you can choose the way you develop it, and here they explain the benefits of why using the composition API. One of the main reasons is the better logic reuse. It's more flexible, and I have said it's based on those lifecycle hooks and mounted, and the setup and the reactive states. So first of all, in the setup, we put here what is going to load before anything else. We are going to define here the socket to communicate with our WebSocket server, and then we have here the ground speed, altitude, heading, and position, which are reactive values that in Vue are written like that with those ref. The variables are constant, but not the values. What is going to change, that is the reactivity, it's their values. We can also define in the setup the function get telemetry, that the only thing that it does is emit a socket event called get telemetry. Now we are also going to see the data service, how it works to understand it. And once the component is mounted, it's like listening to or waiting to receive some events with the drone ground speed, the altitude, their heading, or the position as arguments here. And once I receive it, I just put the value here, and of course to use it in the HTML I have to return them here like that. And this is very easy. To completely understand this information, let's see the data service. So to finish the video, let's see this data service, this backend, the WebSocket service server. I'm using a Flask application, so we'll need the library Flask and also the Flask socket IO. Moreover, I'm using, let's say that the backend is connected, as we have seen here, to the MQTT broker. So we will also need this library. And to start this service is very easy. We call an app. So we have a Flask application, and we are going to use the socket.io like that. And in the main, we also started with a socket.io run, and it starts the server. But before that, we have to connect it to the MQTT server. So this is like always, we have an on message function. If we have the username or password, and the subscriptions we may need to start. And basically, as we have seen in the client, in the server, we also have those events with the socket.io. Both the client and the server receive messages by as events with names. And for example, when it receives the get telemetry that we send from the dashboard, it does that. We only publish in the MQTT broker that command: get drone ground speed, get drone altitude, the heading, and the position. And as the data service is connected to the MQTT broker, when it receives a message with a command drone altitude, ground speed, or drone heading, it emits with that name the altitude, the ground speed, the heading, or whatever. And this is always like that. It's relatively easy. And that's it for this video.